Hello again, Knights fans, and welcome to the first edition of the 2016 FDU Knights Baseball Roundup. Coach, your sixth year here, fifth year doing this show. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So the season's just about 3 weeks away. This Friday, 3 weeks from this Friday, you start the year against Maryland Eastern Shore in South Carolina. Before we get to that, let's talk about the roster a little bit. First, let's talk about the new guys. 14 new faces on the team. Tell us a little bit about the class you brought in.
Yeah, we brought in a lot of I think it's 13 freshmen, and Danny Demetrop's a junior college kid. Brought in about 8 pitchers and a couple of guys who were outfielders to fill Riley's spot in center field. That's the only position player we have that graduated. So, we're hoping we can. It's not an easy guy to replace because obviously he was quite a center fielder, and I think he's 6th all time in hits. So he's going to be tough to replace. But we're hoping between a couple of guys we brought in, they'll be able to handle it. We did bring in 8 pitchers, a lot of 4 lefties, 4 righties, and a lot of good arms that we hope are going to help us out a lot. We have to replace our whole bullpen, so we're going to count on some of those freshmen to be able to step up into big roles.
All right. You mentioned Riley Moon, and the only real piece that you lost from your lineup. How big is it for you to be able to bring back so many consistent starters from last year, right back into 2016, a lot of them seniors now?
I think it's a great starting point. This is probably the best starting point since I've been here. It's a team that made the playoffs last year, and when you have 8 out of 9 returning starters, and we got 2 conference pitchers back who both pitched very well for us in the past, that makes all the guys be hopeful that we can repeat what we did last year and make the playoffs again. I mean, it's a great starting point, a great opportunity. I don't remember having this many players back in the past, so it gives me a lot of hope for the season.
All right, now looking at one area you did lose people is the pitching staff. You mentioned the bullpen. You lost Eric Snyder, Anthony Calisi, Yona Perline. You also lost Joe Borelli and Ryan McGrath off the mound, 2 of your weekend starters. But you do bring back arguably your 2 best weekend starters from last year in Logan Frady and Joe Flack. How do you expect to use those guys this year, and then how are you going to replace the guys you lost?
Yeah, I mean, having Logan and Joe back is very comforting because Joe Flack had a terrific year last year. I think he was 5-2. He should have beat Bryant twice. He did beat him in the playoffs, pitched a terrific game for us. Logan, 4 times our back against the wall to stay alive in the playoff race, and all 4 times he came through with a win. Yeah, you can't ask for 2 better starters than that. So those are 2 great starters to have coming back. Obviously, we're going to miss McGrath and Borelli because I think between them they had 10 wins. And, McGrath had a great year for us last year. He won 7 games. He came out of nowhere, 10 innings pitched before that. So we got to hope one of these freshmen, or maybe a couple of these freshmen, step up and do the same kind of job. The bullpen, they've been my bread and butter. I mean, Calisi, Perline, and Snyder is how I kind of made my career here. They've been my top 3 guys out of the bullpen since I've been here. I think the 3 of them are just short of 300 appearances between them. I mean, it's incredible. They're 1, 2, 3 all time. Anthony hit 100 appearances last year, first pitcher ever to do that. Snyder's the all-time save leader in the history of the conference and the history of FDU. That's not an easy guy to replace. So, but we got 8 freshman pitchers and Danny Demetrops that came in, and hopefully between them, they're going to get the job done the same way McGrath stepped up last year. Somebody has to step up this year, and we're counting on. We got a lot of opportunities, a lot of people to pick from, so somebody's got to do the job.
Okay, now let's look off the field for a minute here. Big event coming up in 2 weeks on Saturday, February 6th, the annual First Pitch Dinner, one of your favorite events of the year. Tell me why you like it so much.
It connects the past and the present. I mean, when we first started it 6 years ago, we had 73 people the first time. It's now grown to over 200 people. It's become just the trademark of our program. I mean, the amount of alumni that come back every year, and of course it's named after John Bittmann, who's one of the Hall of Fame alumni, one of the guys who does tremendous amount of work for the program. He's just a terrific supporter of FDU baseball, and it's just a great night. It's always turned out to be a great night. We get a lot of alumni there. We get a lot of parents, a lot of, obviously all the team players, and we kind of introduce all the alumni at the dinner, and then we introduce the team later on in the night, and we honor some Hall of Famers. It's just a good night to be a night.
All right, now you always honor you always honor former players at the event. Tell me about some of the guys you're honoring this year.
Yeah, this year we're doing the 1990s All-Decade Team, which is one of the better 10-year periods in FDU baseball history. I believe they won in 93 and 96. They won the Northeast Conference, if I remember correctly, and And they got some really good players. Mike Policastro is going to be there, who's one of the all-time home run leaders in that program, and Jeff Carpel, who just went into the Hall of Fame. We're going to honor him about being a Hall of Famer and also as part of the '90s guys. So it should be a good night.
And why don't you tell me about the special speakers at the event?
Yeah, let me also add that Coach Dennis Sasso is expected to come, and he's the winningest coach in the history of the program. He coached throughout the '90s, so he was the coach of all of those 1990 All-Decade guys, and we've asked him to help present the certificates to them because he's their old coach. I think it's better coming from him than coming from me.
Great. Why don't you tell me about the guest speakers at the event?
Yeah, the guest speakers, the two newest Hall of Famers, Jeff Carpel and Joe Rigoli, who speaks every year at our dinner. He's just a terrific man, scout for the St. Louis Cardinals, and a graduate FDU member of the All-Decade team in the '70s. Finally this year went into the Hall of Fame, so we're really happy about that for him. Steve Dombrowski's been my motivational speaker for the team since he's been here, another Hall of Famer, played back. In fact, I think Steve still holds the NCAA record for most hit by pitch by any player in the history of NCAA baseball, which is pretty cool. So, you know, of course, John Bittmann will speak. And for the first time, Dennis O'Brien, who is also one of our biggest backers and one of the great alumni that we have, also a Hall of Famer, he'll be here for the first time giving out his the Dennis O'Brien FDU Alumni Award. So it should be a good night.
Great. And how about one other off-the-field event you have going on right now, the Adoptive Player Fundraiser? How's that going for the team so far?
So far, great. We have, I think we're at 27 players adopted already. We have 30 players on the team. So we basically need 3 more alumni to step up. Last year, every single kid on the team was adopted by someone. And the way the Adoptive Player program works is basically the alumni gives us $200, and that basically pays for the kids' cleats, turfs, to outfit him, his hat, his uniform stuff. So it's turned out to be a real good thing. And then the player stays in touch with the alumni through emails during the course of the season, telling them what's going on. Some of them have developed such a big relationship, like Pat McClure and Red McGarry, who's one of our big alums. I mean, it's just become a really nice connection for the past and the present, where one of the old alumni usually they adopt a guy that played their position or had the same uniform number as them. So it's been pretty productive, and we need 3 more. So hopefully some of you guys listening out there, some of you alumni, 3 more, we need you to step up.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us. Anyone who wants more information about the First Pitch Dinner or Adopt a Player can contact the baseball office at 201-692-2245, and they can speak to anyone on your staff, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. We hope to see everyone at the First Pitch Dinner on February 6th.